Welcome to Top Shelf Tech. I'm Jeremy Nees, and today we are talking about WizOS. So WizOS was announced about a week ago, was posted on their LinkedIn account and referenced the launch, provided a link to their blog post where we could go and learn more. And that's basically what we're going to run through today, just the content available on their blog and talk about that, plus a little bit of the context around this area. One of the things that Wiz did do on the blog post is also reference the trailblazers in this area that have come before, and in particular Chainguard with their Wolfi OS. So we'll go into a little bit of detail around that because that will provide a bit of context here. So what is WizOS? Very simply, WizOS is a hardened Linux distribution, a lightweight distribution that is near CVE-free. So a lot of the vulnerabilities, common vulnerabilities that have been resolved, which you can use in your CI/CD pipelines, replacing existing images, and give you a really good secure starting point where you're got a high degree of confidence that what you're deploying and building upon will be vulnerability free. Wiz themselves are using this in production today and have been for a period of time. So they've replaced Alpine and built their own CI/CD pipelines and product around using WizOS. So they also in the blog post go into what's next for WizOS. So right now the WizOS image that they've released is focused around Golang architectures. So it's quite, I guess, narrow in its applicability. But what Wiz talk about is continuing to expand WizOS to support a broader range of base images and soon common application layer images as well. Today, Wiz customers can, within Wiz, see which vulnerabilities are being introduced through the base layers and get recommendations where they might be able to replace that with a secure base image like WizOS. There's an example here in the screenshot where you can see a couple of critical vulnerabilities and a recommendation for the WizOS hardened image, which is available to remediate those vulnerabilities as opposed to you having to go and remediate them yourselves. So I said we'd look back to the Wiz's mention of the trailblazers in this area, and in particular Chainguard, because they're probably one of the more mature in this area. Chainguard have a nice saying, no more shifting left, starting left, i.e. we're going to start with images and open source software that we've got a high degree of confidence in that is already secure. So Chainguard about 4 weeks ago announced a $3.5 billion valuation through a Series D raise of $356 million. That puts their valuation up quite substantially from where it was about a year ago at $1.1 billion. Quite like the middle snippet here where Chainguard talk about protecting open source supply chain. Supply chain risk has obviously been a huge topic for our industry over the last few years. And I think what we're really seeing here is this move towards how we can secure the open source supply chain, whether that be at an application or code library level or at a image and distribution level. Chainguard in this area, so they've got language libraries that are built from source and built to be secure. They also have a fairly comprehensive image library, which there's a screenshot there, but a bit small to see, but you can just go browse it on their website if you're interested. So looping right back into Wiz and WizOS and that what's next to them, that probably provides some context when they talk about continuing to expand WizOS. So we might expect to see, for example, WizOS container image that will support ASP.NET in future or other application level languages and potentially databases or whatever as well. And that we'll have to see what they focus on and what comes through next there. But I think it gives us a good impression where they're going here around providing you more tools to develop securely. Obviously, Wiz has Wiz Code and the DAS acquisition, so they've invested quite a lot in this area, and you can add some auto remediation capabilities there as well. And you can see how that whole sort of supply element of what you're building, there's a big focus on getting that secure before it's been deployed. So that's all for today. Just wanted to touch base on that. I thought it was quite interesting to see Wiz announce that. Obviously, pretty early days for this, but yeah, nonetheless, pretty cool to see. Thanks for joining us.